We've been dealing with common factors, right? Even greatest common factor. But now let me introduce letters, okay? So we're going to introduce letters. So to begin with, questions 13 and 14, they're asking to list all the common factors of each. So let me find the factors of 18, right? I'm looking number-wise. Let me just focus on the numbers. Number-wise, 18 and M. So let me find my factors of 18. As we said before, factors are multiplications, right? So which multiplications give me the result of 18? So I'm going to say 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, right? I'm finding all the multiplications that give me 18. Notice on the side on the left, I was going 1, 2, 3. So the next number is 4. 4 times something is not 18. How about 5? No, 5 doesn't work. How about 6? Yeah, 6 works. 6 times 3, but 6 is already on my list. So I'm just going to say that my factors of 18 are 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18, right? All those numbers, those are factors of 18. Now let me find my factors of 9. I'm going to say 1 times 9. 2 is not a factor of 9, right? Because 2 times something, no, I can't do it. But then 3 times 3. There's a repetition of numbers, so I stop. So my factors of 9 are going to be 1, 3, and 9. So numbers-wise. Letter-wise, in order for my answer to include a letter, both terms have to have it. Notice how the 18 doesn't have a letter, the 9M does. So again, in order for my factors, my common factors to include a letter, both of them need to have it. So my answer here will not have letters. Some answers will, just number 13, they don't, because both of them need to have that letter. Okay, so now let me answer this. We just found out that it's not going to have a letter, so it says list all the common factors of each. We're going to go from small to large. So we know what the factors of 18 are. We know what the factors of 9 are. I want to list all the common ones. Common means it's a factor of both. So 1, it's a factor of both. 3, right? 2 didn't work because 2 is not a factor of 9. So 3 and 9. That's it. That's it. Those are my common factors. Common means it's factors of both. If I gave you a list of 3 numbers, I can also ask for common factors. That means it's factors of all of them. Now let's take a look at number 14. Let me find the factors of 42, okay? So I'm going to say factors of 42 are going to be 1 times 42, 2 times 21, 3 times 14. 4 is not a factor of 42, right? The way I check it, I go backwards. 42 divided by 4, gives me a decimal, doesn't work. 5, 5 is not a factor either. Then 6 times 7. After 6 is 7, but 7 is already on my list, so I stop. Those are my factors of 42. Now, 35. Let me find my factors of 35. 1 times 35. 2 is not a factor, right? Because unless I go 2 times 17.5, but yeah, we're not going to use decimals. 3 is not a factor. 4, nope, it's not a factor, 35. 5 times 7. And that's it. Those are my factors of 35. Now, letter-wise, my letters, I'm going to include Y. Not X, because they both have to have an X. And they don't have it. So X is not part of my answer, but Y is. Now, if there's multiple Y's, what I mean with multiple Y's, let's say one of them is a different exponents. Let's say I had a Y to the 1, which is what we see. And let's say, just for kicks, this one was Y to the 2nd. Different exponents. The one I'm going to use will be the one with the smallest exponent. All right, so just Y. we're going to use the smaller exponent. Okay, so let's see. So again, we just said my answer is going to have a y. So common factors. We can write 1y. Now our homework is going to consider that incorrect, right? When there's a 1 in front of the letter, we tend not to write it. So just y, okay? So 1y is just y. And the next factor we're going to use is 7y. So I'm writing my common factors. Common means it's in both. And I'm including y for all of them. So just 1 and 7. Number-wise, it was just 1 and 7. So y, 7y. Okay. Now let's take a look at number 15. Find the greatest common factor of each. Okay, so let me find the factors of 48. I'm going to go 1 times 48. 2 times 24. 3, is 3 a factor? I go backwards. 48 divided by 3. I use my calculator. 48 divided by 3 gives me 16. Okay, so 3 times 16. 4 is 4 a factor. Use a calculator if you need to. 48 divided by 4 is 12, so it gives me a whole number, so that's good. 5, 48 divided by 5 gives me a decimal, so no, 5 is not it. 6 times 8. Okay. Now my factors of 16 are going to be 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and then 4 times 4. Okay, those are all my factors of 16. Now here, I'm asking to find the greatest common factor. Like, I'll worry about the letters in a minute, but right now I'm just going to look at the numbers. Greatest common factor. Okay, so it has to be a common factor, so it has to be a factor of both of them. But I'm not just looking for all the common factors. I'm finding for the biggest of all. Okay, so let me try to figure this out. Let's see. Let me find a common factor. I see 4. Do we see a bigger common factor? Yep, I see 8. Okay, so do we see a bigger common factor? Yep, I see 16. So the biggest, that's the greatest common factor. Number-wise, it's 16. Okay, so 16. Number-wise is 16. Now letter-wise, let me compare the letters. Let me compare x. One of them is x to the 4th, the other one is x to the 3rd. So I'm going to have x to the 3rd. I go with the smallest exponent. Now let me compare y's. One of them has a y, the other one doesn't. So my answer will not have a y. So my answer is 16x to the 3rd. If I ask you to list all the common factors, all of them will have an x to the 3rd, okay? Now let's take a look at number 16. Let me find my factors of 45. And I'm going to go 1 times 45. 3 times 15. 5 times 9. And that's it. Now let me find my factors of 21. 1 times 21 and 3 times 7. Now let me find my factors of 42. 1 times 42, 2 times 21, 3 times 14, and then 6 times 7. So number-wise, greatest common factor. So it has to be a factor of all of them. So I see a 3. There's also 1, but 3 is bigger. Now my question is there a bigger common factor? Right? Common factor has to be in all of them. Nope, I don't see it. I see 21, but it's only in 2 of them, not all of them. So no, 21 doesn't work. All right, so number-wise, 3. Letter-wise, I see they all have an N. My three terms have an n. I'm going to go with the smallest exponent. So it's going to be n to the second. Let me zoom out. That's what we did.